In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What up, what up?
Yo.
We are back. It is Friday once again, everybody. Happy Friday. We are live here on YouTube as always. Welcome to Kiss Me Podcast 4K, the Crazy Crazy Kiss Countdown. You one of the best. I am one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
And I have discovered the worst tasting thing on the face of the planet. You want to see it?
Ooh, is this suitable for our stream?
It is. This time, I promise not to do that again, and I stick by it. Let's check this out, okay? This is a Vicks Vapo Cool cough drop.
Oh.
And it works amazingly, but tastes like a butthole.
Yeah, just looking at that, I can almost taste it.
Yeah, I'm tasting one right now, and let me tell you, I'm gonna spit it out before it's done.
So if you see the South Park coming alive where Luke poops out of his mouth, you know why. He's got a butthole lozenge in his mouth.
Hot.
You know, you haven't thrown anything over your shoulder since you've lived at this new house. It's been a long time.
My God, you're right. I hadn't thought of that. Here's this is my box of tissues that I desperately need. Not anymore.
And then now if you see a river flowing down his nose as well, he's just going to be a mess by the end of the show. The snot.
Disappear off screen.
He's going to lose his sense of taste and everything.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, as you guys might see, no Savannah with us again this week. Did she leave us rankings though?
No, but she is going to be getting them to us maybe sometime during the show. Not sure.
Okay, so she may pop in or not. If not, maybe we'll definitely get them added in before next week. Baby day is getting closer and closer. She's got a baby shower going on tomorrow, so a lot going on. So that's why she's not with us today. So getting ready for all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. So this week, of course, we are already almost done with the solo album cycle. We are on the third of the fourth, the Gene Simmons solo album. One of my personal favorites. Again, I know this kind of gets, kind of an equal amount of love and an equal amount of hate amongst the Kiss fans. Some people can't stand it. Some people enjoy it just as much as I do. But, always a fun listen, I feel like. I feel like every time I listen to it, it gets, a little bit better and better every time. So,
yes.
All right. So we had we had a slight change in the rankings for last week's album. Good old Steve McGowan changed his vote for the Paul album, so we'll find out if that changed much of anything. And we'll get into our usual stuff here and then wait for the knuckleheads to arrive in the chat.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll go ahead and get into comments because we actually had some more people getting in on everything. So that'll change everything a little bit.
Cool.
So we had a new comment pop up on a couple of weeks ago's episode, the Peter Criss episode. A new comment from Anthony X. Good to see you there, buddy. That's a new name, but his profile picture says Kiss on it, so that's cool. He says, Peters is my second favorite 78 solo album. I'll easily give it an 8.
Wow, there you go.
Nice. So that did actually bump up our overall average for Peter's album to 6.5 out of possible 10. Still in last place at the moment, but it was at 6.4. So that's a step in the right direction there.
Yeah, I mean, that's not hateful. And, at least nothing is below the 5 mark. So that's, definitely a good thing as well.
Right. Yeah. Because we right off the bat on our Second Coming albums had some stuff that was down in the nether regions.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Down in the Vicks throat lozenge area.
Exactly. Yeah. I am tasting Laura Nero right now.
Ooh. I don't know if that's good or not.
Oh, again, I'm sorry. I promised that I wouldn't do it again.
I'm going to look up and see what she looks like nowadays while you're talking.
So jumping up to last week's episode, the Paul Stanley album review, got quite a few comments. Let's get the dumb ones out of the way first. First off, we had 2 separate comments. One urging us to visit awesometeens24.online.
It never fails.
It never does. And the other one urging us to visit dating18girls.online.
Jeez.
So if anybody's interested in getting scammed, check out our comment section.
We've said it before. If you would offer us a free month subscription or something, hey, I might click on it. But
yeah, yeah.
By the way, Laura Nero probably doesn't look too good these days, being that she died in '97.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Sorry.
We should have done a tribute show or something.
Well, yeah. We wanted people to watch them. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. So, if anybody wants a good laugh, check out our YouTube playlist of videos and check out the Second Coming videos very early in that series, the Laura Nero album. I don't even remember what it's called now because it wasn't worth remembering.
Well, one of them was, she named it after me. It's called Eli and the 13th Confession.
That's right. Yeah.
She somehow named it after me when I wasn't even around yet.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
This is episode 12, right? I think so. That means next week, Ace on the Ace album, that will be your 13th True Confession. I think I might have that wrong. No, this is only episode 11. Never mind. So it'll be on Dynasty. Yeah.
Unless I do 2 on this episode. Nah.
Maybe. Okay, so those are the two stupid ones. Right above that, though, is the wins the award for the most hilarious comment that I may have ever seen on any of our videos. And that is from The Man. And he says, I assume it's he, question, what has 6 legs and 4 balls?
I don't know.
The answer is Kiss Meets the Podcast.
That is great.
Thank you, The Man. That is amazing.
I could see a sticker in the future with that on there.
Yes.
The podcast with 6 legs and 4 balls.
That's true. Although, to be fair, none of you know for sure that all 3 of us have both legs and the 2 of us have both testicles. You don't know that. And
not that all 3 of us have testicles either.
That's true. That is true.
You don't know that I have an attached twin that didn't fully develop that I keep out of camera range.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, Eli technically has 3 balls, right? Because you are one of Bruce Kulick's balls.
Yeah, so technically I swing back and forth, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a good point. We got a comment from our good buddies in Kiss and Tail that just said, another great show.
Awesome. Waiting on these guys to pop in. Where you at?
Yes.
Speaking of Kiss and Tail, I'll go ahead and say it, but once they pop in, I'm sure they'll. Luke actually made a little special appearance on their most recent episode. If you jump over to their channel, they did a what was it called? Hollow Gene special.
Yes.
Episode dedicated all to Uncle Gene, and it was pretty cool. I checked it out, and Luke did a little special something on there, and it was a very cool episode. Go check it out.
Absolutely. Lots of good stuff on that one.
Yeah.
We got a comment from Anthony X. Same guy that commented on Peter, so glad to see that seems to be a trend. Want to hear more from you, Anthony. He says, Paul's is my least favorite of the solos. It's not too bad, but sounds like unfinished demos to me. At least 4 throwaways. Move On should have been on Peter's solo album because it sounds more like a Peter song. Plus, the recording has a muffled sound. I give it a 4.
You know, when you say that, I could kind of picture Peter singing that in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
I now demand that we get a comment from the man every episode.
Yes.
Or I will not be happy.
Yes. You don't want to make Eli unhappy, guys. Come on.
I want him in the chat, he or she.
Yeah. Absolutely. We got a comment from Robbie Stars. He gave us his rankings for the Paul album. His top 3 were Ain't Quite Right, Take Me Away Together as 1, and Tonight You Belong to Me. He gave this album a 6 out of 10. He says the bass could be up in the mix more. Some great tracks, though, but I definitely do not listen to this album at all, as I prefer the other 3 solo albums over this.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I think I said it last week. I might only listen to a few songs if I go to this album, and I honestly don't go to it that much. And I don't hate it. It's just, I don't know. I'm not as drawn to a lot of the songs on here as some of the other stuff.
Yeah. Also got a comment from Thomas, Rain in Adamstown, for our longtime viewers. You guys know him. Gave us the top 3 for Paul's album. Was Tonight You Belong to Me, It's All Right, and Take Me Away Together as 1. He says, these 3 songs are great, and Wouldn't You Like to Know Me is okay, but to be honest, the other 5 songs are really bad. I give it a 4. That brings me... Paul's songs only really shine if he has counterparts. If he does all by himself, it's too much of the same.
I agree. That almost mirrors about what I was saying last week, I believe. Just a lot of filler type songs is, to my ears.
Yep. So putting all that into last week's stuff, the top 4 did not change. So our top 4 is still Tonight You Belong to Me in first place, and then Wouldn't You Like to Know Me, Love in Chains, and then It's All Right. However, our overall did change. Actually went quite a bit down to 7.1 out of 10. It was at 7.5. Yep. So I think, looking at it, that actually puts it in second to last place with only Peter's album behind it.
Wow. I wonder, it could stay that way with the rest of these albums. Who knows?
Right. Yep. It will be interesting to see how that puts up against everything else once we're getting closer.
Right.
All right. So going over to Paul.
We lost you.
Still nothing.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Al. Okay. All right. So our polls then. We had some interesting developments last week. As most of you probably know at this point, round 3 just ended. So last week we posted our second chance vote. And this is for one of the songs that's already lost in a previous round, getting to come back as long as it had a high enough percentage when it lost. So we posted 6 songs. God of Thunder, A Million to One, Hate, I'm a Legend Tonight, and Who Wants to Be Lonely? Oh, and Let Me Go Rock and Roll. And God of Thunder won by a landslide. 61% of the vote.
Yeah, I don't know if I 100% agree personally. To me, it was kind of closer with that and Let Me Go, for my opinion. But I mean, I guess if you're looking at best song as far as, I don't know how based on, again, if it was the live version, yeah, all day, it probably wouldn't even lost in the first place. But So I don't know, man. We'll see how God of Thunder if it gets knocked right back out again next round or what.
Yep, I already know what it's going to go up against, and I kind of feel like it will. So that was a really interesting matchup there, that second chance match. I did not expect it to go the way it did at all.
I didn't either.
Yeah. Now I figured God of Thunder would win, if I'm being honest, but I'm a Legend tonight, no votes. The only one of the 6 with no votes, and that felt weird. Let Me Go had 1 vote. Hate had 1 vote. Who Wants to Be Lonely had 4 votes, and A Million to One had 5. But God of Thunder had 17.
How many songs are left for the overall thing now?
Let's see. Round 4. That is a great question. Round 4 has 17 matches in it. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. So obviously, I just can't do math fast enough.
So we're talking like 34.
34 songs, yep.
And then I don't know how quickly you may or may not be able to do this, but how many of those are Gene songs versus Paul songs?
Oh, good Lord, I have no idea.
I was just curious because, like, I remember last time when we finished this crazy countdown, Paul won, pretty much by a landslide.
Everything, yeah.
But it almost feels like, and I may be wrong, but it almost seems like the Gene songs are kind of dominating this poll. So I almost wonder what the balance is there, Gene versus Paul songs.
Right. But looking at it, just kind of looking at the song titles, it seems fairly evenly spaced.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's a good even balance, which makes it even funner. So.
Yeah. So right now you can go check out the first 6 matches of round 4. We have just started that, and round 4 is going to go quick. These are going to start snapping by really quick because we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. So if you guys don't know, you can head over to our Facebook page, search Kiss Meets Podcast, our Facebook page there. If you haven't already, give it a like. We've shared these polls. We post them in our group. If you search Kiss Meets the Podcast group, you have to send a request to join, but we approve everybody. So everybody get in there. We want to hear as many voices as possible, get as many votes as possible. The 6 you can vote on right now are Unholy versus Rocket Ride.
Man, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Oh, this round is not going to let up. Let me tell you. All Hell's Breaking Loose versus 100,000 Years. Take Me versus Cold Gin. I Want You versus Creatures of the Night. 2000 Man versus Strutter. And She versus Tonight You Belong to Me.
Yeah, we got some interesting matchups now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Yep. And we are going to end up with another second chance round at the end of round 4 too. So plenty of opportunity for your favorites to get back in.
Yeah. And so this thing's probably going to end up going like 6, 7 rounds or so, 8 maybe.
Yeah, probably.
So it's definitely, like he said, nitty gritty. So get over there, get those votes in, and like we said before, please share them to your page. That way, people that you're friends with that are also Kiss fans, we want as many votes as humanly possible. So please share the polls.
Absolutely.
Oh, and by the way, I just remembered we had the person ask about putting the polls on Twitter last week. That's something I need to get on to our Twitter page and then see if we can post those on there as well.
Yes.
So be on the lookout. I'll make a post or something on Facebook if we get that figured out. So you guys can head over to our Twitter as well, so we can try to get that more active again anyway.
Right. All right, so jumping over to album info then.
All right. I lost your audio again.
Still nothing.
There you are.
Okay, all right. Weird. Hey, what do you know? I finished that horrible butthole cough drop after all.
Time for another one.
Yeah. Oh, no, please no. All right. So, album info then, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, Gene Simmons is, of course, the 1978 solo album. This was released on September 18th, 1978, alongside solo albums from all of the current members of Kiss. Oh, geez, not current members of Kiss. At the time, current members of Kiss. This was recorded at The Manor in Oxfordshire, England. God. Cherokee Studios, Los Angeles, California. Blue Rock Studio in New York. This was all done from April to July 1978. Produced by Gene himself as well as Sean Delaney. So Gene's big thing, of course, for this album was just getting as many guest appearances as he possibly could. This was a big thing for him. I remember in that Kiss Behind the Makeup book, he even talks about that. He makes a comment about how he was convinced that his album would sell the most because he would get as many guest musicians as he could. Even unintentionally getting Katie Seagal on there, who was not anybody at the time, but ended up being somebody. Who figured that one? Let's see. Radioactive was the single here. As far as personnel, my God, this is going to be ridiculous. So we got Gene Simmons, who did, of course, all the vocals, guitars, acoustic guitars. We got Neil Jason, who played the bass. That's right, folks. Gene didn't play freaking bass on his own album. Elliot Randall did guitars. Alan Schwartzberg did drums. That's a name Kiss fans ought to recognize. He's been on a lot of stuff. He played a couple of songs on The Elder, even. Sean Delaney, who did percussion, backing vocals. Ron, Frangipane, maybe, did symphonic arrangements and conducted the members of the New York and Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestras. We've got Gordon Grody, Diva Gray, Katie Seagal, Franny Eisenberg, and Carolyn Ray all did backing vocals. Eric Troyer did piano and vocals on Radioactive and Living in Sin. Steve Lacy played guitars on Radioactive. John Shane Howell, classical guitar, and the segue between Radioactive and Burning Up with Fever. Richard Gerstein played piano on True Confessions and Always Near You. Joe Perry from Aerosmith played guitars on Radioactive and Tunnel of Love. Bob Seger, backing vocals on Radioactive and Living in Sin. Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick did guitars on See You in Your Dreams. Helen Reddy, background vocals on True Confessions. Jeff Skunk Baxter, who did guitars on Burning Up with Fever, See You Tonight, Tunnel of Love, and Mr. Make Believe. Donna Summer, background vocals on Burning Up with Fever and Tunnel of Love. Janice Ian, backing vocals on the intro before Radioactive. Cher did, of course, her and her daughter were the ones on the phone call and Living in Sin. Mitch Weissman and Joe Pecorino, I think, backing vocals on Mr. Make Believe, See You Tonight, and Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide. Michael Desbarres did background vocals on See You in Your Dreams. Richie Rano did guitars on Tunnel of Love. The Citrus College Singers were the ones on the chorus of True Confessions and Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide. Then we've got George Marino, who did the mastering. This album got up to 22 on the U.S. charts and has been certified platinum.
Yeah, I know there was always that. I don't know if it's a rumor or it's been proven, but I know one of the people Gene wanted on this album was Paul McCartney. And obviously that didn't happen, unfortunately, but it is cool that guys like Joe Perry and Bob Seger, Skunk Baxter. I mean, if people don't know who Skunk Baxter is, he probably most famously played with the Doobie Brothers, and they're a great band as well. So he's a very talented player.
Yes. Yeah, I remember reading somewhere, maybe it was that Behind the Makeup book, or maybe it was one of Gene's autobiographies. Seems like he said that he was really trying to have a full Beatles reunion on this album, even if they weren't all on the same song.
Wow.
But not a one of them ended up actually doing it.
That would have been nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, I'm having trouble even finding our Twitter page now. I don't understand. Like, I don't know if it got taken down for some reason or what, but so the way it looks, I'm probably just going to start a brand new Twitter account for the page, or for the podcast. So again, be on the lookout. I'll announce that. We'll try to make sure to get the polls on there as well, if we can. So, and without further ado, let's get into the show. Man, where's all of our slackers at today, man?
Yeah.
All right, so once again, we open up this album with Radioactive. And just like with last week, gotta blow the load again. It's my number one, always will be. Man, I love this song. This is another one of them songs that I put up there with songs like Christine 16, stuff like that. Those kind of Gene songs that it's got a great groove and vibe to it. It just makes you feel good. And I tell you, when I was a little kid, that intro piece used to scare the hell out of me. Like, even just looking at the picture on the on the cover. I mean, even when I was little, just looking at that used to kind of creep me out at times. But especially that intro with the weird, with the laugh, and I'd be sitting down attempting to play drums with this, and when that piece would come on, sometimes I couldn't even make it through to the actual song because I would start getting so scared I'd have to turn it off. And I do remember last time we did this, I was saying something about, I always wondered what the what he was saying when he's speaking in tongues during that, and I think Steve actually said something about what he had heard they were saying or what it meant or something. So I do vaguely remember that. But yeah, so again, once you get into the song itself, it's such a great upbeat song. You can't help but feel good every time you hear it. I love it every time. And it's kind of not what you would expect from Gene in a way, because with that whole intro piece, you think, okay, we're gonna get something just freaking scary and crazy heavy or whatever, coming off the heels of like Almost Human and all that. But then it comes into this, and you're like, okay, and there's definitely some cool stuff with the with the background vocals and whatnot. So this is always number one for this album, and to be honest, it's probably my favorite song off of all four of the solo albums, period. If we were to have to rank them that way.
Yeah, I gotta agree. This is definitely number one. I mean, number one all day. This is the one song that they played live from the solo albums that I'm totally on board with. This was the 100% right choice.
Yes.
This is the only one, honestly, I think, as far as ones they performed that I was like, oh, good, that one. I always like the groove and the melody of this one. It's perfect Gene. The intro is just the perfect way to start Gene's album. I do kind of wish the song were a little longer, especially this particular listen through. When it was over, I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, every time I listen to the song, I'm just like, oh, it goes by too quick. Man, could you imagine though, like if they had done that beginning piece live too, like if he had done like the blood or something, and just imagine like all that going on and like the green lights and the smoke, and he's like doing the blood, and oh man, that would have been crazy.
Friggin' creepy. Yeah.
All right, next up is Burning Up with Fever, number 3 for me. I love how these two songs just sort of meld into each other. You get that Gene counting off 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get that weird kind of creepy, out of tune acoustic guitar, and you always love, Gene goes lovely, and but another great song once it kicks in. Really cool lick. I love that groove it has too, and just to be honest, the first three songs on this album are just have always been like a perfect trifecta for me. Like all three of these are just like perfect in my opinion. Um, I could listen to them front to back all day long. What's up, Mike? Mike Groves. Mike Groves. This time we're still waiting on Watts to show up.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have heard him perform this one live too, for that matter. It's got that great. It's kind of a slowish, heavy groove to it, and then some good vocal harmonies there. And, even towards the end, you get a lot of that. I'm not sure who's doing the female background vocals, but a lot of that real kind of that soulful type singing over top of it, which again you don't expect for a Gene Simmons album at the time. And yeah, so just have always been a big fan of this song too, and that's a great one.
Yeah, number 5 for me. I really want to like that acoustic intro, but the half step off double thing just throws me. But the rest of it's fine. It's just that one little piece right before he says "lovely." And honestly, I really don't like the count off. I wish he hadn't done that.
Yeah.
I wish you just started with that little acoustic bit. But yeah, this one, the groove reminds me of Almost Human. It's not as heavy, but the groove is similar. And I really enjoy that about that. And this one, if you would have just said this title at me, I would have said, don't care for that one. But honestly, on this listen through, it did hit me a lot. I liked it. The only thing that kind of throws me about the song, just kind of in general, is the female background vocals, which will become a theme.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mike, I've noticed echo on my voice too. I think it's coming from Luke's end somewhere. I'm not sure where or why, but there's a bit of a delay. How's that? I still hear it a little bit. But... oh well, we'll grin and bear it. All right, next up is See You Tonight. This one's number 2. I mean, like I said, I just love this trifecta of songs. I wanted to just easily say 1, 2, 3 in that order, but to be honest, I've always liked this one just that much more than Burning Up with Fever. It's again, it's kind of a ballad, which again you're not expecting on a Gene. It's that's one thing about these albums too. Listening and doing these reviews, you almost have to try to put your mind in that mindset of what it would have been like hearing it for the very first time, like what you expect and what you get, and then really kind of taking it from that perspective. But I know it's hard to do sometimes, and but with this, I mean, we do get a great acoustic sound on here. It's not out of out of tune or anything, and I just love the sound of it. Gene's vocals sound fantastic on this. I love when it goes to the part with like the and you hear like the strings underneath it and stuff. That's such a great piece, man. You can tell he definitely put a lot of thought and work into this, and it's I'm so glad when they pulled this out on Unplugged. When I heard them start to play this, I was like freaking out even at that time. So I'm like, oh my god, they've never played this. And that was such a great version of it as well. And again, for a ballady excuse me, a ballady type song, Gene knocked it out the park, man. This isn't, like I said, I could just listen to these first 3 songs over and over. It never gets old. I know them like the back of my hand, and it's just a great trifecta to open the album.
Yeah. Yep. This is number 2 for me as well. I just love the Beatles vibe on this song.
Yeah.
The vocal harmonies are awesome. Honestly, I think the MTV version might have been the first time I heard this song. So it's cool knowing that it came from a solo album. They dug deep for those, and good,
Yeah.
to play World Without Heroes from The Oath and this one from Gene's album, stuff that may have been overlooked. But yeah, this one is definitely one of my favorite Gene songs. Not a typical Gene song, but a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we go to Tunnel of Love, and From Good to Bad for Me. This one came in at number 11, so dead last. I'm pretty sure the last time we did it, I wasn't real big on this either. It's just, I kind of almost remember saying this last time too. Is like, okay, we get all the innuendos. It's kind of like a little unnecessary in my opinion. It's like other than what the lyrics are playing on, there just wasn't much to this song in my opinion. I definitely enjoy the demo version much better than what this was, but yeah, this one just never really does it, and it sucks because, like I said, coming off the high that those first three give you, and then this one comes on, and it's like a little bit of a dragging point, but thankfully it'll pick back up.
Yep, number 6 for me on this one. The building intro of this one is really cool. I like the drums and bass thing, and then the guitars come in, and then the vocals. It's the chorus of this one that makes me question it, Again, the female vocals feel like the wrong move. They don't hit me right. And then, like, the super high Gene vocal, too, kind of, like, I don't hate it, but I feel like it's too loud in the mix. It ought to have been brought down in the harmonies again.
There was, I don't know why I didn't take a couple notes, because there was a couple small little things that I had noticed and I was going to bring up. And now I can't remember if it was this song or one of the next ones. I'm trying to see if I can figure this out real quick. Sorry, I should have been better prepared. Okay, I don't think it was. So maybe it's. Okay. Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's coming up. So sorry about that. I didn't mean to hold this up. But so moving into the next song, well, you guys that watch the show might be a little familiar with this song by now. True Confessions. Gee, I wonder why. So this one's number 4. And I got to say it's number 4 now because a big part of it is because we use it in the show, and it's become such a catchy tune, and that chorus hook that you hear on the part of it that we use for our little bumper there. I mean, it's so catchy. I'll get that stuck in my head from time to time, and again, it's I guess we've already said this a lot, but that's kind of the theme of the album. You don't expect this from a Gene song. I mean, those background singers on that chorus, it's damn near like, almost like Motown, Supreme type, singing the way they're singing that, and you just totally do not expect that. But it's such a cool song. I like the intro. It's got kind of a weird intro that throws you off, and but once the song kicks in, yeah, it's just catchy as all get out.
Yeah. Number 7 for me on this one. This one is another one that kind of has a Beatlesy vibe just during the verses. It's not quite as heavy as, say, See You Tonight or Mr. Make Believe, but I mean heavy in the Beatles vibe.
Right.
But yeah, it still has that little catch in it there. And then just again with the female background vocals, I just can't quite get on board with it. Although I will admit that this might be my favorite. If I had to pick a favorite female background vocal moment, it is this one, just because that chorus is so catchy. But yeah, it just, yeah, I don't know.
I agree. Yeah. All right, so flipping over, or no, we don't flip the record yet. Yes, we do. We've already, yeah. Okay, Living in Sin, number 8 for me. So this is the one. So obviously it's, further down the list. It's cool. I like the whole Living in Sin at the Holiday Inn, blah blah blah. It's cool. And honestly, this might have been ranked higher had it not been for True Confessions becoming more of a favorite now. And but I'm pretty sure this is the song where it was really early in the lyrics. It might have been like the you found the hotel where I'm staying line or something like that. But right after he says that line, you hear this real cool little bass like and it's like that caught my ear. And I'm like, that was a cool Gene little bass lick right there, that he just threw in. And well, I would like to think it's Gene, but apparently it probably wasn't. But he probably hopefully came up with the idea at least, but it definitely sounded like Gene, as far as the bass tone. And that part did catch my attention. So, but yeah, it's a cool song, kind of another play on words, but I do enjoy it better than Tunnel of Love. So, by the way, your audio is off again.
No more audio off. Yeah, okay.
No more wall.
No more wall. Number 9 for Living in Sin. Yeah, I could go without this one, if I'm being honest. The intro's weird. The chorus is all right, but I don't care for the verses, and honestly, the phone call's kind of dumb.
Oh, yeah. Totally forgot about that. And that's Cher, isn't it?
Yeah. Cher and her daughter, yeah.
Oh, well, Chaz?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I guess I didn't even put that together.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
Could you imagine like Chaz Bono coming out on stage nowadays and doing that part with Gene on stage? Hey, is this Gene?
Hey, Gene. Oh. Yeah, so not a big fan of this one, just generally.
Next up is another interesting one. Always Near You / Nowhere to Hide. I guess kind of a two-parter. This is number 9 for me. This is one of them songs that I always forget about that's on this album. Like every time it comes on, I'm like, I always feel like it's the first time I hear it because it's one of them songs I never put on. But I tell you, I mean, it was kind of like I wasn't paying a lot of attention to it until it started getting towards the end. And I tell you what, when Gene starts belting out all those high notes and everything, I'm like, and again, I felt like I was hearing this for the first time. I'm like, I do not remember this last time we did this album, or I don't remember if that was the last time I listened to this whole album was the last time we did it. But it's like I don't remember that, and I don't even remember talking about that on that episode. Then I don't know, but
I don't know.
I mean, excuse me, that was catching my attention big time. I'm just like, wow, like he is just like you never heard Gene hit any high notes like that on any Kiss record up until this day. And dare I say, he was like rivaling Paul Stanley on some of the notes that he was hitting. It's so that's definitely the highlight of this song for me. Unfortunately, there wasn't really anything else about it that I can really remember that stuck to me and that I could really talk about.
Yeah, this is number 8 for me, and I tell you, I really want to like this song, but like we talked about with several of Paul's, it just feels incomplete. It feels like something that started with a good idea and didn't quite pan out the way it should have. I think I said this last time we did this album, but this one at the beginning is kind of eldery to me. The acoustic guitar and the way Gene sings, yeah. It feels like it could have been something on the Elder. And then as it kind of evolves, I start getting that Beatles vibe again, like specifically like a Sergeant Pepper era kind of where they're starting to get weird, but they're not real deep into the weird yet. But then the end of it, it just, again, it feels like it's building to something, and then instead of getting there, it just kind of flops and doesn't do, and it just gets on my nerves. It goes on way too long, on and on and on. And then Gene's super high vocal thing, while, yeah, totally super impressive, I feel like he could have just done it the once, and that would have been enough. But by the fourth or fifth time he does it, I'm like, all right, come on.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's funny you say that because I always kind of get that Elder vibe too, based on how it's like, I guess, supposed to be a two-part song. Because I always get that vibe with like, Only You and Under the Rose. Like I consider that like one song that's split into two. And it's kind of funny that he kind of had that same idea this early. And, and for that matter, Paul's kind of did too, because he had that one with the long title, even though he put brackets around the other part of it, but it was essentially a two-part song too, I guess.
Yeah.
So it definitely carried on. All right. So then we go into Man of a Thousand Faces. This is number 6 for me. This is a cool song too. I definitely like this ending section of the album, with these last few songs. It definitely starts picking up. It's, I feel like this song and the next song are kind of one and the same as well. Like I feel like it's almost the same kind of theme. But yeah, so, it's a cool idea. The Man of a Thousand Faces thing. Like, I guess in a way, like, I'm not sure if it was about him or the band, but I kind of get that vision of like talking about, how they wear the makeup, how many times you put the makeup on, you're using that, that disguise, then they got to run around with, handkerchiefs on their face or helmets and, different disguises, like, so that's kind of how I interpret the song in a way, like just all the different ways that they had to run around hiding their faces. And
Totally. This one's actually number 3 for me. I've always really liked this song. This is another one of those that I have weird nostalgia for too. Just random songs, and I'm sure that this comes from Dad is just a huge fan of mixes. He likes, especially when it came to the Kiss songs, all throughout childhood, he would just have tapes or CDs or all sorts of, and it could be anything. Any Kiss song might come on, might be next. You never know what's going to happen. And I'm not a big fan of doing that kind of thing. I'd rather listen to the albums chronologically. But I think because of those mixes, I think that's why I've developed strange nostalgia for different songs. Like we talked about a few episodes ago, I have like the same nostalgia for a song like Christine 16 as I do for a song like Boomerang from Hot in the Shade. And also, this is another one, Man of a Thousand Faces. What is it with Gene songs triggering that nostalgia?
Yeah.
But so this one's always, it sticks with me.
Yeah, I've always had, I know this is off topic of this album, but I've always had like a special place with Hot in the Shade too, because that was the first Kiss album that I could remember like actually getting when it was new. Like, I had it on cassette first, and I just remember getting it when it was new, and that was like the first Kiss album I remember buying as it came out. It was like so cool, and then Revenge came after that, and I remember getting that on CD when they still came in the big boxes and everything, the long boxes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of why I've always had a weird special feeling or place with Hot in the Shade too. But I'm sure we'll talk about that all over again when we get down to that. Anyway, next up is Mr. Make Believe. This is number 5. Excuse me, man. Number 5 for me. Again, like I kind of hinted at with Man of a Thousand Faces, I feel like these songs are kind of one and the same as well, to an extent. Yeah, I remember saying this on the last time we did the album, and I can't help but feel this way. And I always think of Abner Devereaux when I hear this song. Um, yeah, part of it might have to do with once I saw that Attack of the Phantoms version and heard this song in that movie. That's probably part of the reason. But at the same time, I just picture him like down in his lair working on the robots and everything with this song playing, and like I said, to an extent, Man of a Thousand Faces, I almost kind of get that same vibe, but like I said, I tend to try to relate it more to Kiss now. But Mr. Make Believe, this song definitely, it just makes me think of Devereaux. And but to talk more about the song, it is kind of another ballad, but not as slow, I guess you would say. But and again, you have some great acoustic guitar on here behind the vocals. I think Gene sounds great on this track as well. And yeah, it's just a very solid song. I feel like it's maybe kind of the underrated song out of the whole album that maybe people might not give enough credit to. Who knows? But that's probably arguable, but definitely feels that way.
Yeah. Yep. This one's number 4. Of course, this is another one of the really Beatlesy ones. And listen, I made a decision during this song. Screw the rest of this album, okay? Except maybe Radioactive. Screw the rest of this album. Gene should have made the whole album like this one and See You Tonight. Because he has such a great sense of making a song sound Beatlesy while not directly ripping them off. It doesn't just sound like he took their ideas and ordered them differently or anything.
Right.
It just has that feel, and his voice works perfectly for that sort of stuff. I would be very curious, even at this point now, if right at this moment in time he went and made a whole album of songs like Mr. Make Believe and See You Tonight, I'd buy that, and it would probably be my favorite Gene thing ever.
Yeah, instead of the piece of garbage we got.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Because I was hoping that we were going to get another album similar to what this was, and then we got that garbage. And when I saw that video for Firestarter, that right there killed it for me. I always swore up and down that I'll never listen to that album. To this day, I still haven't. If we ever do go back to the other stuff and we do get to that point, yeah, I'll listen to it for the sake of the show, but I have no plans to listen to it before that.
Yeah, and you are right for that. Having heard it several years ago, the title track is funny, but that's the best thing that can be said about the whole thing.
Yeah. Harry said, didn't Gene write a song as an homage to Lon Chaney Jr.? You know what? That could be Man of a Thousand Faces now that you say that. I may have misspoken. So maybe that's what that was about, because Lon Chaney obviously played tons of great roles back in the day with the Monsters, and obviously Gene was a huge horror movie fan, still is. So you could be right on that. Maybe that's Man of a Thousand Faces, but I just interpreted it as also kind of involving Kiss as well. Let's see. Next is See You in Your Dreams. This is number 10 for me. Again, I always, I guess, have to say, like, I don't hate the song, but I'm not a big fan of the Rock and Roll Over version, and definitely not a fan of this version. I probably like the Rock and Roll Over version better than this version. I still don't understand what issue Gene had with it and why he felt like he had to re-record it. And then, in my opinion, it's just a worse version. Could have put something else on, on this album. Back then we didn't know, but nowadays we know there were so many demos he had of songs, that he wrote around this time or even before that would have been cool to put on, something like, I don't know, there was like Rock and Roll's Royce I like that demo. I think that would have been cool if he would have made that into an actual, album song, stuff like that. But instead we got this, and definitely, like I said, I definitely prefer the Rock and Roll Over version over this.
Yeah, I couldn't possibly agree more with that. This is number 10 for me as well. I just cannot get inside the headspace of why he felt like he needed to redo this. What was so bad about it in the first place? This one, more than any other song on this whole album, feels like a demo to me. It feels unfocused, more wild than the Kiss version, and not in a good way. Again, with the female background vocals, just that's the nail in the coffin for me. With this one, is just they were already annoying me on the other ones, and then to add them to this, where we already heard what it sounded like on a Kiss album, it didn't need them. What was his obsession? This didn't need a gospel choir. I don't understand it. I really do not like this version of the song.
Yeah, but by this point in the album, it did feel definitely overused with the female background. And
Yeah.
at least on the Rock and Roll Over version, we could hear Paul on the background, and I would definitely
Yeah.
take Paul any day over that.
100%.
All right, so coming into the end of the album here, When You Wish Upon a Star, number 7 for me. So 11 songs on the album. This is number 7. I wasn't going to rank it dead last or next to last. I've always enjoyed this. It's again the epitome of not expecting. It's the freaking demon. I mean, I think Gene might have even used, to kind of loosely quote at one point, it's to see the big bad wolf, cry or whatever, doing a song like this, no one expected it. And, you just, and I think you kind of touched on this even last week or so, where you kind of mentioned about, basically Gene's life, how he grew up and his story of immigrating. I mean, this is kind of the perfect, like song about what he went through and, living the dream, to become an American. Like, forget about rock star and being famous. That wasn't even thought about in his brain at that time. Just coming to America, having the freedom, all that stuff. And then here he is living the dream, big rock star. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's, he sounds good on it. And again, it's just, I can't stress enough, it's that epitome of not expecting. I mean, everyone's probably expecting some big, crazy, heavy song to end the album or something like that, but that's not what we got. So this was definitely a cool little surprise for the album, and it's always kind of fun knowing that this is, getting ready to come on every time I listen to the album. What is that noise?
That was Pip playing with her toy.
Oh, sounded like someone was banging on a door or window. I was like, somebody.
Yeah. Oh, there she goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I see her. Oh, really? We lost you already? Just like that? Hey!
There she is.
There she is. And there's your audio.
Yeah, just in time. It works when she's here.
Everyone, welcome Savannah.
Hello. I just got home.
Yes.
How'd it go?
It's all right. He's moved really low. She said, laying on my bladder, basically.
Oh, nice.
His big old head's on my bladder.
So you're going to have him then on Monday so I don't have to go back to work?
Yeah. I'll get right on that.
Does your kid hang low? Does he fall down on the floor?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so I mentioned that on my Kiss and Tail appearance, actually.
What's that?
The how much this song makes sense with Gene's backstory.
Oh, was it? I thought you said something on our show last week about it, that when we got to talking.
Yeah,
you're right.
Maybe
You're right.
Too, but yeah.
I'm probably mixing it up. Yeah, you're right now.
Right. Yep. Not that anybody at this moment knew that backstory,
Yeah. Again, another thing, trying to think of, that time frame.
Yeah, yeah. What a weird thing this would have seemed like until later. It would have made more sense, you know.
Yeah.
Yes. Now this is number 11 for me, but let me talk for a long time.
As long as your audio don't cut out.
You're right. Let's hope. Yeah, I love the idea of him doing this song. Seeing this title on the CD excited me. You know what I mean? Like that can't be what I think it is. The freaking song from Pinocchio, really? And then it comes on and not only is it that song, but it's literally that song but with him singing. It's not even a rock cover of it. It's the Disney version, but instead of instead of Jiminy Cricket singing, it's Gene Simmons. And it makes so much sense. What a perfect story, for somebody to come to America not even speaking English and end up being one of the world's biggest rock stars. Made so much money, his great grandchildren won't be able to spend it if they tried. You know, the just like you were saying, the epitome of the idea behind this song. It doesn't matter who you are. When you wish upon a star, you get what your heart wants. You can hear the emotion in his voice in this vocal track, and that's what makes this song. It puts it in the balance for me because that's it. It's his vocal that I don't like about this specifically. It's so clearly heartfelt, and I can't fault it for that. I just can't. But it also makes his voice sound really strained, and sometimes he doesn't quite hit the note he was aiming for, and it makes the song out of context, like not a super greatly executed vocal. But it's knowing that why it was like that, knowing it's because he was literally in tears in the vocal booth trying to push this out. It makes that make sense. I One part of me says that it makes sense because of that, but another part of me says that I kind of wish that somebody had the balls to ask him to do another take, because it just I feel like he could have nailed this one a little better than he did. But again, I understand why. I understand why it sounds the way it does, and I understand why he would want to leave that. It makes sense, that emotional connection, and you can hear that emotion, and it would be a little sucky to take that out of there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, who knows? He may not have been able to do another take. He might have been ready to just, blow up like a little baby, by the time he was finished with that track. I don't know. I mean,
Right.
And I don't think he's ever performed the song. I can't remember if he might have pulled it out here and there at one of his solo shows or something, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I tell you what would have really sent this song over the top, and probably would have been one of them things that would have made me cry damn near every time I listen to it, especially nowadays with where we're at. Is like if he had gotten his mom to sing on here.
Oh,
and
wow.
like had her sing, some of the lines too or something. Man, that would have just been so cool. He may have even tried, for all we know. I don't know, but or maybe he never thought about it. But talk about like that would have really set this song, on fire. To have her singing some of these lines, and
Absolutely.
All right, so that wraps up this album. So as far as an overall ranking, I give this one an 8. Like I said, I really enjoy this album. I always have since I was a kid, and every time I listen to it, I just feel like it gets better and better. More of the songs start meaning more to me and catching me more and more. And I feel like Gene, in my opinion, did the most creative work on this album out of the 4. I mean, with all these, the string arrangements and the bringing in these background singers and all these guest musicians and just, things like Wish Upon a Star and, the the opening thing to Radioactive to, just a lot of the stuff he threw in here, just, again, unexpected. I mean, if you really think about it, there isn't one song on this album that, in my opinion, I don't consider any of the songs on here heavy. Nothing on here to me stands up to like, oh, this is almost like Almost Human or, God the Thunder. No, it's nothing like that. And I'm sure that's what everyone expected. But again, he threw that curveball because that's what Gene does now that we know. And I just think it, to use that same cliche, he threw the curveball and hit a home run at the same time, in my opinion. Just a fun album to listen to. And I'm still on the verge of wanting to say that it is my favorite of the four, but with his and Ace's, it's like the damn election right now. They're so close. I always want to say one or the other, but it's kind of hard to say which one is which. But I just like to say I like them equally. Definitely can't wait to do Ace's album next week because that's always a fun one too. So, but yeah, just total greatness. Like I said, I mean, when I'm listening to the album as a kid and that intro scares me, and just staring at that picture scares me that says a lot right there. I mean, that's an impact, and that's just something that it just adds to the love of the band and, the person and the character. And, it's just, that whole thing about it. So yeah, very, very solid 8 for me on this one.
Nice. This one I ranked number 5, actually. I don't hate this album. I don't hate any of the songs. I don't hate any Kiss album for that matter. I know we talk about that a lot. I think honestly, this might be my least favorite of the 4 solos, honestly. Although I don't want that to come across as though I think it's a bad album. You know what I mean? It's only considered that in the context of the others, I think. I think the whole Kiss discography when I say that.
Right.
I think this is the least focused of the 4, and that's what makes it sit kind of weird as a whole for me. I recall Bruce Kulick has said before in some interview that Gene is a throw everything at the wall and see what sticks kind of songwriter. And I think that really shows on this album. Is most of it good? Oh yeah, absolutely. But the wild diversity and sudden stylistic changes throughout the track listing makes it feel a bit, I don't know, incomplete. Like he couldn't quite decide which direction to go in, so he just went in all of them. It's a bit too all over the place, and just to me, a few too many guest musicians instead of being a really focused solo band effort. I dislike the idea that he thought the only way he could outsell the other guys was by having that many names on it. His first thought wasn't, all right, the best songs. It was, let's see how many famous people I can get on there. I think both of Gene's solo albums make it clear that he works better with clear direction. If there had been a different producer to say, these songs work best together, maybe you should work a little bit more on this one. Maybe this one shouldn't be on there. You don't need to redo the Kiss song. Come on. Maybe how many songs should really have female background vocals, Gene? Altogether, though, I think the songs for the most part are really good. But this album fits in well with the other 3 members' solo albums in that, to me, it proves, all 4 of them prove that they were stronger as a unit than they were separated.
Yeah. That's, at the end of the day with these solo albums, that's usually the one thing we say right towards the end is they were much more solid as a unit. And with Love Gun and even that stuff on Live 2, they should have just kept the ball rolling, and we'll say it again next week.
Yep.
I totally agree with that. I said it last week too, is if they had to do anything, they should have just cut it down to an EP, 2 songs a piece, blah, blah, blah. That's it. It was almost like Gene wanted to make an album where he just played with a lot of his heroes per se, like especially with the whole Beatle thing. What a dream that would have been.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking here on the back cover, and I saw some more names listed that I don't recall. I'm not sure if you had mentioned them or, but Donna Summer,
Yeah, that was on there.
Janice Ian,
Yep.
and it's kind of funny because it lists her as what she appeared on as Prelude. So does
Right.
that,
She did the choiry vocals in the little introduction thing.
well, see, that's what's funny because it doesn't list that on the track. It's not Prelude Radioactive. It's what I mean. It's kind of like unnamed.
That is weird.
Ricky Nelson.
Yeah, I don't recall that being on there. I know Rick Nielsen was on there, but not Ricky Nelson.
Yeah,
Huh.
Rick Nielsen. Yeah. See You in Your Dreams.
Right. Yeah, Rick Nielsen was on the Wikipedia page, but not Ricky Nelson. That's crazy.
You're right. It was Rick Nielsen. I misread.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see the I. I was like, whoa. And yeah, pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So that wraps it up. Where is everybody at today?
I don't know.
Well,
They all got COVID.
Are the final tallies ready?
They are. You want to do that or the True Confessions or?
Let's go ahead and do that first, just by chance that maybe another person or two might pop in, and then they can give us theirs as well. If not, Harry, hopefully you're still in here. Oh, lost you.
It come through?
Got you now.
Okay. How many dang its did that catch? Because I just did a bunch.
None.
All right, that's fair. So, as per usual, in addition to the two of us that you just saw list off everything, we are counting in several more votes as well. Get yours in. We'll count yours as well for future albums and also past albums. We'll go back and change everything we've got. We are going to have Savannah's eventually. We don't have them right now, but we are counting Steve McGowan's. He gave this album a 7 out of 10 overall, and his top 3 were See You Tonight, Living in Sin, and Radioactive. We're also counting Rochelle McGowan's. She gave this a 7 out of 10, and her top 3 were True Confessions, Radioactive, and See You in Your Dreams. We're counting a bunch from the last time we did this album as well. We're counting mine from then. I gave this a 6 out of 10, and my top 3 were See You Tonight, Mr. Make Believe, and Radioactive. Eli's from last time. Eli gave this a 7 out of 10. Top 3, Burning Up with Fever, See You Tonight, and Radioactive. Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I think both of us had the same top 3. My dad's from last year. He gave this a 5 out of 10, and his top 3 were Man of a Thousand Faces, Mr. Make Believe, and Radioactive. Steve McGowan's from last time. He gave this a 7 out of 10, and his top 3 were See You in Your Dreams, Radioactive, and Living in Sin. Robbie Starrs last time gave this album a 9 out of 10. Where's Jay Rucker? I thought we had Jay's on this. Interesting. Okay, so Jay's dad gave this a 3.5 out of 10, and his top 3 were Man of a Thousand Faces, Mr. Make Believe, and Radioactive. Jay's niece gave this a 2 out of 10, and her top 3 were Living in Sin, Mr. Make Believe, and Radioactive. Thomas, Rain in Adamstown, gave this a 10 out of 10. His top 3, Man of a Thousand Faces, Mr. Make Believe, and Radioactive. We've also got Jacob Hicks, who gave this a 3.5 out of 10, and Gianni Ottaviani, who gave this a 7 out of 10.
Oh.
So putting all that together, this ended up with a 6.2 average overall out of 10. Pretty surprising ranking, honestly. That puts it in dead last.
Jeez.
Yeah, didn't see that one coming. It's, I mean, Peter's even got a 6.5. Come on.
That's an outrage right there. Come on.
Yeah.
We need where's Chris and Watts and those guys? We need some more rankings here. Harry, what did you get?
Absolutely. Let's see. So as far as our song rankings here, coming in last place this time, I don't think anybody will see this as a surprise. When You Wish Upon a Star.
I do.
Did come in 11th place. Yep. In 10th place, Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide. In 9th place, True Confessions. In 8th place, Tunnel of Love. In 7th place, See You in Your Dreams. In 6th place, Living in Sin. In 5th place, Man of a Thousand Faces. Making our top 4 for this week. In 4th place, Mr. Make Believe. In 3rd place, Burning Up with Fever. In 2nd place, See You Tonight. And by an absolutely huge margin, in 1st place, Radioactive. Nobody's knocking that one out of first. Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Checking one little piece of info real quick, and all right, so just kind of noticed on the KISS website, today happens to be a small little anniversary. This day, back in 1979, KISS played in Anaheim, California on the Dynasty Tour. So speaking of performing solo album songs live, that kind of ties in with that there.
There you go.
Very cool. Yeah, it sucks how the KISS news stuff seems to be pretty dry these days with all this COVID crap going on.
Yeah.
Not enough going on.
Absolutely.
All right. Harry, if you're still here, please give us a vote and then let us know if you have a true confession coming up, because it is time. It is now time for our true confessions. All right, true confession time for the Gene solo album. I don't know. I guess I'll kick it off here this week. Trying to think of something that we didn't already kind of discuss.
You're right. Yeah, this one was hard.
Well, when it comes down to it, like I said, this I feel like is one of, if not the best of the soul albums. That's my opinion. I love the fact that there's not God of Thunder type songs and Almost Human type songs. I like the difference and variety. Yes, we could have done without too much of that background singing, but you know, the spots that it's in, it does work. Kind of cool that someone it's fairly well known as Janice Ian is on that intro to Radioactive. That's kind of a weird tie-in. I could say that Janice Ian scared the crap out of me when I was little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I feel like, I hate to sound like a cop out, but I feel like we covered a lot of the kind of critiques there about the songs and but yeah, that kind of sums it up. There is what I covered there.
Nice. I've got both a negative and a positive that's also sort of a negative. Man, I shouldn't even bother with that sentence. Jeez. So I gotta say that if I made a list of all the Kiss albums in order of my personal favorite to least favorite, this album would be real far down.
Mm.
I think it would be right near the bottom. However, I still would take this album any day over Monster.
Fair enough. That's an interesting standpoint there.
Yeah.
I was just noticing on the Kiss site that for those of us that can't afford to buy those platinum and gold record awards that they sell, they now sell puzzle versions of those for $40.
Oh, good God.
So those of us that can't afford the real thing, we could put a puzzle together and stick it to a piece of poster board and hang it up. And
There you
pretend we
go.
have it.
That's it. Just make it so that we have to work more. That's the lesson
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Put a puzzle together, work harder, make more money.
That's how it goes, right? So I was looking at the lyrics on "Living in Sin" and the actual lyrics that it lists for the phone call.
Oh boy!
It says, "Hello, oh, is this Gene Simmons? Oh, can I? Oh my God! Oh, what room is it true what they say about you? That you get to know your fans personally, Gene? Oh my God!"
Genius lyrics. Genius lyrics. And that's followed by a bunch of
And that's all from Chaz Boner.
I think, yeah. Oh,
So
geez.
taking a look here at again what they ended up putting out, the compilation called Best of Solo Albums, and it's essentially kind of the idea that I was saying, but it's I think it's more three songs per person because there's 12 songs total, which again that would have sufficed too.
Yep.
So looking at what they chose to put on this compilation, tell me what you think. Would this have sufficed as a good enough album to, instead of doing what they did? So you got New York Groove, Living in Sin, See You Tonight, Rip It Out, Fractured Mirror, Don't You Let Me Down, Radioactive, Tonight You Belong to Me, Take Me Away Together as One, Rock Me Baby, I Can't Stop the Rain, and then Hold Me, Touch Me.
Oh. No. Oh, man.
And they chose to put that on a best of the solo albums.
Oh, my God. Wow. That's not even close to what I would have picked for almost any of them. I think 2 of the 3 Ace songs that you mentioned were the only ones that I was like, yep, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then one of the Paul ones, but not the other 2. Oh my God. Oh, okay. I guess See You Tonight and Radioactive, that makes sense. But Living in Sin, no. And then I can't believe they didn't put Hooked on Rock and Roll. That's the kind of Sugar Papa likes. Wouldn't You Like to Know Me?
Or even like Move On.
Yeah. Wow. Right idea, just not for me personally. I'd have picked vastly different songs.
There you go. Yeah. I was a fan of that icon set that they put out. However many years back now, where each disc is just songs from each member. I like that concept.
Yeah.
Kind of the greatest hits of all the Kiss stuff that they each sang.
Definitely.
Really enjoyed that collection.
Yeah, that was a cool idea.
Another random thing that has nothing to do with this episode, but I was watching a Kiss video the other day, and it just finally kind of popped in my head. The Tears Are Falling video. What's the deal with the volcano and the like island looking stage? Like, what does that have anything to do with that song or the video.
I can't think of a single thing, honestly. I really can't.
I wanted to bring that up and get opinions, and I was hoping we had some more people in here to discuss that too. But I guess in that case, leave some comments if you do see this. Tell us your thoughts on that, because I don't know why. It's just one of them things. As many times I've seen that video, the other day it just suddenly like, what's the volcano? what's
Yeah.
what's
And
that?
why did they have to like make Bruce wet in every single one of the videos too? You know, like, I think he's even brought that up in the past. Like, I don't know why I had to be soaked every time we did a music video, but
And then my wife also said that Gene looks like Richard Simmons in the video with his hair. That was kind of
I can see that.
another added plus there. I explained to her about the B. Arthur thing as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a fun bit of that DVD.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So, well, all right. I guess that's going to wrap it up for this week. I don't know what happened to our usual cast of characters that are in the chat room, but hey, it's all good. I'm sure they'll be back next week, and hopefully you guys get a chance to pop in and watch this show with some free time. And again, go check out the Kiss and Tail podcast. Check out their Hello Gene episode to see the spot that Luke had in there. That was really cool. Hopefully you guys will dig that. And then hopefully we're going to be making an appearance on their show again pretty soon. And we'll let you know. And then again, I will work on either making a brand new Twitter or trying to recover our other Twitter page. And we'll definitely work to try to get those polls on there, and we'll let you guys know. So that's another way we can get some more votes in. And again, please help spread the word with that. The more the better, because it's definitely getting down to the hard pickings now. So, All right, well, that's going to wrap it up. Harry, thanks for popping in. Mike, I don't know if you're still here, but thanks to you guys for popping in, and if anyone else watched.